Good evening. Welcome to the meeting, the Select Board meeting for Raymond for October 10th. We have a quorum. Sam Gifford's in by Zoom. First item on the agenda is welcoming Chris Howell, the superintendent, RSU 14, and give us a presentation on the plans of the new middle school.
Great, and thank you for inviting me tonight. It's actually been, I think, 2 years since I was last here. And at that time, we were talking about whether or not we should consolidate the two middle schools.
Yeah.
And had actually a lengthy discussion on a couple of community forums on that. So really providing you a 2-year update on that and where we are. Also just want to thank Rolf, who has served on our building committee for the last couple of years, and for the insights and for his time and helping to kind of shape that process. Just a reminder, everybody, RSU 14 is one of 9 school districts that is participating currently in the state construction program. In the past, the state has been able to do up to 20 schools in a cycle. This time, it looks like only 9 are going to get funded. And so having state support for a building is an absolutely amazing thing to have. And just the best way I can describe it, it's almost like a community, and the community's winning Raymond, winning the lottery. And in this case, receiving over $131 million in state aid to build a building. And specifically in these times when we have districts that are around us that are looking to do buildings on their own, and probably I think everyone saw this example, Scarborough's looking to do a new combined elementary school, $161 million of local funds. And so just giving an idea. Along with that though goes working through the state process. And this has been a process which has been a good process for us, but it's forced us to look at things such as consolidating of middle schools, whether or not that's a good idea, forced us to look at all sorts of different spaces. But just a reminder to the public, this actually started back in 2016, so we're already 7 years into this project, and we still haven't gone to referendum. So it's a lengthy process. And part of that process is also based on the state has a certain amount of money that it can spend on any given year in school construction, and where we fit in with the bond cycle for the state. And at this point, we're looking like we'll hit state bonds in 25 and 26. They actually want to have us issue them in 2 separate things. And in essence, I'll get this in the finance, we actually may end up with 3 bond issuances in this project, which allows us for, I know, select boards and town councils think about tax rates, to actually ease our way into a final impact on the mill rate several years out before that happens. But it's been a lengthy process, and through this process we've done a tremendous amount of educational planning, visioning, working with community members and parents. And what I've also loved about this process, a number of students, and students have given a considerable amount of feedback in the planning process, specifically about the building. We have gone through new versus renovation studies. We've done through a kind of consolidation study. We've done a district study of all buildings. We've looked at 109 school sites in Windham and Raymond and gone through that process. And then eventually we've gone into a concept design which has received approval. So things about our current middle school project, and I hope at this point, 7 years in, people know that at least we're thinking about building a new middle school at this point. But in both buildings, Windham Middle School, which opened in 1977, and Jordan Small, which first iteration I think was 1964, and then has gone through several iterations where it's been remodeled to be a middle school. But it's missing educational areas, the organization in both buildings. And also, for instance, in Windham Middle School, many of the classrooms are only 600 square feet, and the state standard's 900 square feet. And so 600 square feet with 25 bodies in an 8th grade, a lot of kids that are jammed in. Again, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're one of 9 districts. The next rating cycle won't go out till 25, 26. Which means that some districts, even if they get rated next cycle, won't see money till probably 31 or 32, which is quite a ways out. Looking at what they can do for outcomes, community assets, we are aware that both communities, Windham and Raymond, are interested in the existing middle schools for future use and other components of that. The other pieces that really will help us out long term with this project is that it looks like universal pre-K as being a requirement is coming down. Not a requirement for people to attend, but for giving it as an option to families. The state was wonderful in this process to allow us to go from a 6'8", with Jordan Small being a 5'8", to go to a 5'8" model. Allows us to move our grade levels around and also will allow us to offer universal pre-K. Currently have about 80 families on our waiting list, and I think you're aware our current pre-K program is at Raymond Elementary School with 32 students. That's maxed out. We did add 3 community partners over these past couple years, 1 in Raymond, 2 in Wyndham, who are providing preschool services to our kids, but this project allows us to open that up to families. And then also something that I think you have been aware of as a select board, I know the RSU 14 board, we have one school of 190 middle school students and another school of 630 middle school students, and trying to provide equity of programs and services and things that we can offer in both buildings. It's been difficult over the 14 years we've been in RSU, so to finally bring all of our middle level students under the same roof. And I know some of you have seen this, but the concept design or the site location that's been approved is 61 Wyndham Center Road, which is located at the roundabout on River Road. It's between the Wyndham High School campus and the Manchester campus, and as the building committee started to look at a consolidated, looking at sites in between, this is under what's the word I'm looking for? It's in an option agreement which expires at the end of December. It's 45 acres of property. 27 to 28 is considered to be usable without any impact to wetlands. In addition, the town of Wyndham has signed over 9 acres of property, which is in the upper right-hand corner. So we'll end up with about a 54-acre campus that will be shared for students in grades 5 to 8. On July 12th, the state school board approved this as a site of the school, saying that it met their standards, and they approved roughly $1.2 million of the $1.5 million purchase price of that property. So the local component will be $300,000, and that purchase price is all based on a formula of how many students are in the building with a minimum number of acres for the property. So it ends up with about a $300,000 difference. Coincidentally enough, that piece of property for acreage 35 plus that was going to meet, it was one of the few properties for sale. Moving along, this is the concept design, which has been approved by the state school board, that will be going to the voters. The only difference between the design that you see here, and I think the designs on the most recent posters that have gone out publicly, is that looking at a power purchase agreement for the roof so that we can provide solar, which hopefully will reduce some of our electricity costs, which I think all of us are seeing. In addition, it may also help us with our electricity rates. You may or may not know this, RSU 14 is already in a power purchase agreement. We own 2% of multiple solar fields across the state of Maine, as well as 4 hydroelectric dams that were part of an agreement that was bargained with the UMaine system, Pratt Whitney, New Balance. We were kind of the token school district they threw in there at the end. Allows us to reduce our electricity costs, but that's one component. It is a large building. This is a 260,000 square foot building, and just for frame of reference, Wyndham High School, which I know everyone's been to, is about 220,000 square feet. Wow. So it's roughly an acre larger. It's built to accommodate 1,200 students, and just giving an idea of coming in from a front entrance, what this might look like. Just an idea of scale. Each one of those windows is about 6 feet tall, so roughly my height. So as you start to take this larger building, kind of pop it out, and I'm just going to go through some additional exterior components before I get inside, because I think when I get inside, you're going to see a lot of what we talked about 2 years ago for how we wanted to see the structure of this building. Number one thing we heard from kids as far as the outside of the building, tell me where the entrance is and make it easy for me to get there. Also, the other thing for kids was we want some areas that we can hang out outside that we're waiting for parents or practice is over. A nice safe place where you can sit on a bench, have a conversation with a friend while I'm waiting for my parents. The other thing that they didn't ask for that we made sure that we looked at is that we realized that the entrance to a school is also a safety area, and to make sure that this is as safe of a building location as possible. And so this particular building has a school resource officer right at the front door. In addition to that, has the office with multiple eyes looking outward. This is the one entrance to the building, so one place coming in. It also has the addition of school guard glass, which is an impervious glass to somebody trying to break in, trying to break things, to make it far, far safer for our students. Other components to this building is that a majority of our students, it's a 3-story building. Downstairs are our applied arts and our administrative areas, the library, the cafeteria. Our students in their academic time are on the 2nd and 3rd floor. Again, it's another safety feature which anytime you have an intruder, what you're trying to do is minimize where they can go, how fast they can go there, and by having our students 2nd and 3rd floor actually makes it a safer building. Kind of flying around. It has a playground.
Is the entrance coming off Wyndham Center Road or River Road?
Let me go back to that slide. There's 2 separate entrances in this, Joe. It's actually a good question.
What's the address again?
61 Wyndham Center Road is the current property. If you go on Zillow right now, look up 61 Wyndham Center Road, you'll get some great aerial shots. This building has, or the complex has 2 entrances, one on Wyndham Center Road, which is on the northern end. It says utility field. And for those of you who remember this property, the property actually had a soccer field on it at one point, where the owner spent between $300,000 and $400,000 to build a soccer field in there. We're revitalizing that field. It also has a secondary parent entrance on River Road, and that entrance was obtained through a land swap with the Presumpscot River Land Trust, who owns the adjacent 17 acres. And they agreed to give us an acre for an acre and a half, and that gives us access to River Road. And River Road has wonderful sight lines. It's about 1,200 feet in one direction and about 800 feet in the other for traffic coming in and out. Wyndham Center Road has some challenges. You come down over the hill, kind of take a left, and so we're really using that entrance for buses and for staff, trying to minimize the public
You
coming
definitely
in.
back far enough from that rotary too, which makes it nice. There's no confusion.
And it will require some traffic calming on River Road. For those of you who've driven River Road in the mornings, know that people do go through there quickly. I'm also amazed at the people who miss the roundabout and drive into it. So we'll require some traffic calming and some lights on both ends there. But again, playground, 5th through 8th grade students, and I know both Michelle and Greg, who are our 2 middle school principals, both believe in getting kids outside for a break, and actually both schools right now are running 5 through 8 recesses, which is great to get kids outside and have that break, provide opportunity for that. Outdoor classrooms, which are something that we have now in both of our middle schools. You'll see a basketball court there, kind of a grass kickball play area, in addition a greenhouse. With Jordan Small has an absolutely outstanding greenhouse program. And also Manchester School does. Wyndham Middle doesn't because there's not a great space for one, but looking to expand that as part of the property. Coming to the back side of the building, this building includes 2 gyms, one auxiliary gym, which is a full-size gym, and then a regular gym, which is 2 full basketball courts. Both of those spaces are being fully supported by the state. That's included within the formula. What's not included, this is the fun part of negotiating square footage, are the end lines. So basketball court may have 6-foot end lines, but you really want to go to 10 to 12. That extra 6 feet you actually have to pay for as a local expense. And so looking at how do we do that, but again, through this process, we've been blessed to get $132 million to then look at that 6-foot and looking at what the investment that it would take to do that. But the other pieces to this, down at this lower southern side, that's the music, so that's our band, chorus, orchestra. Both middle schools have wonderful music and performing arts programs. The Big Black Box is a big black box, small auditorium. There are, between the 2 middle schools, close to 200 students who participate in drama. Both productions this year, one school doing Wizard of Oz. I'm not sure if anyone had a chance here at Jordan Small to see that, or The Descendants at Wyndham Middle School. Huge, huge participation from kids. And there are times currently with the Wyndham High School Auditorium, especially the spring, where we can't get the middle school in. So the building committee felt very strongly to include that. Again, coming up outside entrance, we know families, both rec and for school sports, will be accessing this. So great access to just the gym, which allows us to then close this down. Looking at how this building is stacked, again, this is a 3-story building, compact on the space, gives you greater efficiency. The amount of roof space that you can reduce actually just gets you more energy efficient. But looking at the building organization, again, first floor, school resource officer and the health, so the nurse being right there at the front door. We learned in COVID, quickly get students into the nurse's office and get them out as quickly as possible if they're sick. So having that separate exit, but you also see admin, student services, some specialty education areas, which include a build lab, and then also the library. And off to the right-hand side, we have our Bridges program, which would be life skills, our health rooms. Moving to the back of the building, athletics, the music room, and then kind of a small auditorium that will seat roughly half the students that are there, all centered around a standard center learning commons, because a common thing we talked about through this process is that we don't want any spaces that are only used once a day. So cafeteria, oftentimes you see in school, it's used for an hour or two. The rest of the day, not much is happening there. We want to continue to use and cycle as much space as possible. Something else you'll notice about this building is that it's efficient in moving of students, and to the extent possible, we took as much space and made it educational space. So in a typical building, circulation, which is hallways, is about 15 to 20% of your floor space. This building only has 6%. So every possible square footage was used to actually make it academic space. So this would be, imagine you're on your second floor, 2 grade levels, so this might be 5th grade, 6th grade. Something that we talked about when we were talking about consolidation, how did we take such a large school and really individualize it for kids? And I think I showed this to you, a similar model on the Oyster River building we looked at for grade level on the left-hand side. Let's call it 5th grade. 3 teams of 75 to 100 students who'd be located within that team area. They'll have their science, they'll have their social studies, they'll have their English, they'll have their math, they'll have their intervention. They'll also have close by their applied arts, so their art classes, their STEM classes, which would be, call it your traditional shop class with other science pieces that are in close by, so that those professionals can go ahead and integrate with teams and connect with them. And if you notice, if I'm on the team on the far left, I can actually access my art class because it's right next door. I can kind of slide in. If I'm on the team across, I can slide across. So looking to organize this to make this as personal as possible. The other piece that I love about this building is that those 6 teams that you see on that, there's 6 staircases. So if I'm on the team on the far left, I come in the morning, head to my staircase, head upstairs, I'm in my team. I'm not walking through the halls, I'm not walking through other classes. If I'm the team in the middle, same thing. And then if we layer that with the 3rd floor, 2 other grade levels, I'm just sharing my stairs with another team. So again, this repeating pattern of 12 separate little neighborhoods of teams, especially for middle level, having kids that feel connected to a smaller group. The last thing we want to have, again, kids came in and they said, we want to know where we're going, how do I get to my team, what's the easiest way. In this model, in a large school, there's not a lot of wandering that's necessary. You're heading to your team. Getting an idea of what a team looks like. So that left-hand side, you'd have an English language arts room, you'd have your math room, science room, social studies. There's an intervention space, a special ed space. But it's all centered around a common area, and that common area can accommodate a couple classes. And so it allows for classroom teachers to have kids working out in a central common area. There's presentation space that's there. It's a kind of a shared spot. You'll also notice restrooms are located within the team. It's all single-use restrooms. which allows them, kid needs to use the restroom, they're right there on team, they can go, and then they can come back to their classes. Other pieces to kind of point out is there's a lot of glass in classrooms, but there's also safe areas. And in the case of this particular classroom space, where you see in blue is a safe area that if you had a lockdown, kids can't be seen, staff can't be seen, and we'll actually have a different flooring color so that you know if something's happening, head to the blue floor and you're in a safe spot. You can't be seen. So looking at, are there safety ways or safety things that can be integrated into the building, into that larger team area? But again, great example that's there. You can see down in the kind of the lower right-hand corner, all the bench spaces. That's the STEM lab where kids might be doing model rockets, or they might be working on a bridge project, or a class I visited today was trying to make maglev trains, which I thought was pretty cool. That teacher can be working with that team, but if those kids need to go to that team, it's a real short commute. Again, building small areas of community and replicating that. We've seen school models which replicated this up to 2,200 students, up to 3,000 students, where again, it's this model of 100 students being replicated over and over again. Just give you an idea of some inside shots, and again, we're just at that artist rendering. Should the referendum pass, then things actually go to blueprint, and that's when we start to get into some greater detail. But this large central common area for dining with the cafeteria, lunch area off to the right, it also provides some space for some quiet eating because kids don't necessarily want to eat in a big group. So some opportunity that. Down in the far left-hand side, you can see the office, lots of glass, lots of availability for supervision heading over to the cafeteria. In addition, this includes, it's called an Agora stair or a learning stair on the kind of the northeast corner. Serves two purposes. One, it can serve as a presentation space. So if a class wants to go down and do presentations for student work. In addition, kids can eat lunch there. And as a former principal of Wyndham High School, we had kids that ate on the stairs, we had kids that ate in a small caf, we had kids in a big caf. Plenty of opportunity for kids to kind of find their place. Kind of going down that central spine, on the northern side you have a full gym, which actually does have bleachers for all students. Again, point of reference, that's about the same size as the Wyndham High School gym. All covered within the formula. The smaller gym in that upper corner, that's an auxiliary gym. We have 3 PE teachers, and so it provides 3 PE spaces for the class. Again, state-supported space, and then moving on, an auditorium space that's down towards the bottom. Safety is obviously an issue for all of us. Main entrance, lots of visibility. The school resource officer and Officer Hudner, I'm not sure if you've met him. Kids at Jordan Small, Wyndham Middle know him very, very well. Bit of a rock star in the middle school world. But him being able to have a space that's visible to not only see visitors coming in, as a resource for kids. He has a lunch area because he does have kids come in and do lunches with him, but also has a private space if he needs to meet with parents who are concerned about an issue. Again, gym space, bleacher space for 1,200, so that this is the only spot in the building where you can do a full school assembly. In the formula, the state will pay for 600 seats. So to go to 1,200 to actually have a place you can have everybody, that was an additional local cost. And again, just a simplified view of what the auditorium might look like. It is a compact space with a balcony, which at the middle level allows kids that are sitting upper to be closer to the front where they can actually see what's happening there. So another milestone, September 13th. State board approved subsidy of almost $132 million for this concept. And that was a unanimous vote, as was a unanimous vote for the land purchase, which does create a local share in this project of $39.8 million. And I'm just going to jump here to the budget for a second. And I'm sorry that it's so small. I think there was a copy in your packet.
It was.
Because I can't even come close to reading that from here. And my screen, it's so small. But gives you a breakdown. It's about 104 million. I'm going to do my best to read this. 104 million in actual construction costs for the state, about 30 million local. And then for administrative costs and fees and services, architectural fees, that makes up the other 9 million in the local costs that are associated with it. Building committee was very, very active throughout this process, and just kind of gives you a breakdown of some of those local option parts. So first of all, community and athletics. One of the things that the committee felt strongly about is that, I don't know if you remember, because some of you were around for this, when Wyndham High School was built, it was supposed to have an indoor track and didn't because of cost overruns with ledge that was out behind the building, and that was cut out of the project. The steel was recycled and put into, actually I don't think it was ever delivered, and never ever happened. This building does include a walking track, running track for both indoor track at the high school and middle school, auditorium and support spaces that are along with that, so that everything that kids would need for storage and building and all the other components for auditorium. Learning commons, some of those central spaces, some of the local additional, some of the outdoor learning spaces, that 300,000 in site costs, and then some additional space at the main lobby. But visually, because I think it's the best way to see it, gives you an idea of what's being funded by the state and what's a local cost. So everything in green is being funded by Maine Department of Education and the Major Capital Construction Program. Everything that's in blue is what the committee has recommended to the RSU 14 board to put on the referendum as a local cost. And you notice in some spots it's hallways. In the auditorium, the state pays for the stage, but doesn't cover the cost of an auditorium at the middle level. So that becomes a local cost around it, but we get the stage component. And then in the gymnasium area, you can see where the blue lines on the end are some of the extra space. And the auxiliary gym gets paid for. There is a mechanical room that's in that kind of northwestern corner, which is a local cost. One thing that the state did move on is did give us some additional square footage for mechanicals that were not in the formula based on the size of the building. So I'm going to try to stay with my time. If I'm going too fast, let me know, because we're going to get into money.
You're good.
Okay. So give you an idea again, in this particular drawing, the central common area is a local cost. All the classrooms that go around it, including the restrooms, that is also paid for by the state. So gives you an idea of the square footage. Moving on to kind of that grade level area that sits out between the applied arts rooms and the 3 different teams, which again is a meeting space, production space, workspace that is not covered within the formula. It becomes a local additional square footage cost. So giving an idea of what approximate tax impacts, and I'm going to walk through some further breakdowns. Roughly 77% of this project has been proposed is state funded. 23% is being proposed as locally funded. Believe it or not, it's about the same percentage that Wyndham High School was done at, which was 27 million of state money and $7 million of local. When Wyndham High School was built, the cost per square foot was about $72 a square foot. It was the most expensive building when it was opened in 2004. Right now, cost per square footage in this building is $431 in construction cost. So a bit of a jump that's taken on beyond that. So going from 72 to 431. This will be the most expensive building built by the state of Maine until the next most expensive building comes along. And there are some $300 million plus buildings in the pipeline. And again, I think probably the greatest comparison right now is you have Scarborough looking to do a locally funded consolidated elementary school at $161 million. Some other components here. There's a cost-sharing formula between Wyndham and Raymond and how costs get appropriated. So out of that local funding under the 39.8, 20% roughly, because that's roughly the student population that will be heading into this building, would be to Raymond, and the other 80% of that local funding cost would go to Wyndham. Approximate tax impacts. This was done middle of the summer, and actually interest rates have improved a little bit. 79 cents per thousand in Wyndham on the mill rate, and actually the amount has gotten a little bit better, and I've got some updated slides, and about 56 cents in Raymond. Raymond's number is a little higher, and this goes back to when we were talking about whether or not to even consolidate the middle schools. With Wyndham and Raymond, they're both treated differently in the state funding formula. Wyndham receives state subsidy, Raymond does not. Raymond's a minimum receiver. And in order for Raymond to unlock its share of the $131.7 million, it actually has to spend $300,000. And there's a circuit breaker that kicks in at $300,000 that kind of caps out. That 56 cents does include the circuit breaker built in, that $300,000 that's located there. If we did not do this through the state program, Wyndham would have been about $3.76 per thousand on the mill rate, and Raymond would be about $2.18 on the mill rate. And actually, I've got some better numbers to show you. The town in which I live is looking to do a locally funded elementary school, and the discussion right now is $1 on the mill rate for 5 years. So $5 on the mill rate.
How long is this one for?
That is for the 20 years of the bond.
So the Wyndham High School bond must be retired next year?
The last payment on Wyndham High School local is next month,
Wow.
All right.
That's good.
which is about $370,000, which will be, that's already rolled into this amount that's here. So when this building comes online, it will be, that Wyndham High School debt will be retired. Even that 56 cents is going to take probably 3 years to even get to the 56 cents. And I have some updated slides that I'll show here in a second. But again, gives you an idea of, at that 79 cent number, what the tax impact would be on anywhere from a $250,000 to $450,000 house. But again, I want to give you some updated numbers. But before I do that,
Yeah, we should update the home values because nobody can get anything.
yeah, gives you an idea of
True,
what
true.
this would have been like without state support. And again, that's at about that 79 cents. Interest rates have changed a little bit. And with that change, and then also ramping up, and this is a 2-year ramp up, for Wyndham, it looks like the first year would be about 28 cents. Raymond would be 33 cents. The reason why there's a little bit of a difference, when I put this number in, I just assumed that the state would require the $300,000 ramp up for state subsidy in the first year. That may not be the case. This may be actually a lower number than what's there. My feeling with throwing numbers out is I never want to say go up. I told you this and it's going to actually be more. I'd much rather under promise and overperform with, when it comes to this, to actually say we've been already working with some bond brokers to go independently outside of the main bond bank, which we actually can do better percentage-wise. Also, Town of Raymond has outstanding credit. Town of Wyndham's credit is just, I think Raymond's what, AAA? Wyndham's AA going to AAA. And so we do have outstanding credit that we can actually go ahead and work against. And I know the town of Wyndham and town of Raymond have been using some independent and not always going through bond bank, which again increases the percentage rate. Also provides opportunity independently to refinance should interest rates get better farther down the road. So year one, worst case right now, we're looking at 28 cents and 33 cents. So this is most likely,
The 300,000 to Raymond, is that per year or is that a one?
that's per year.
A year.
Yep.
Now, this is only the building impact. not the operational budget impact.
So operational, we're predicting right off the bat, it's about a $300,000 savings
Savings.
by actually closing 2 buildings and moving into 1.
Okay.
What our greatest increase of cost is going to be is in electricity, because this is a building that's doing air source heat pumps versus fossil fuels and others. So our electricity rates are going to go up. But it'll
Is
be
there
a much-
you said there was, at the beginning you said, is there solar for this one or not?
Yeah, there is solar, but it's not enough to cover the operations of this building. But there will be some operational savings that's not been factored into this
Okay.
at all. Anytime that you can go from 2 buildings to 1, and then also you always increase efficiency when you can have a greater number of students in an administrative structure, 1 principal versus 2 principals, gives you a saving. And then going into year 2, so this is not 52 cents more for Raymond, this is 20 cents more than what I showed you before, because the circuit breaker has already been valued into this. And again, this is looking at...
So you don't have to pay the circuit breaker every year?
In order to be able to access subsidy, it requires an additional $300,000 from Raymond.
Per year?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, as a minimum receiver, until Raymond reaches a point where it is spending each year.
Oh, you're saying the first slide at 33 didn't have that in there? And
No,
this one
it
does?
did have it in there.
Oh, they both have it in there?
Yep, they both assume that $300,000 payment.
Okay.
That's factored in. And just looking at how we're going to finance, it all depends on when we can break ground. It's our hope with a positive referendum that we can possibly break ground with a separate site package the end of next summer.
Wow.
DEP permitting is the kind of the limiting factor and whether or not a project can move along. And then, so we could end up with a small bond next year, another bond in 25, and another bond in 26, which would then put your maximum payments probably hitting in 28, 29, when you would ramp up to 52 cents on the mill rate. But that's also assuming that valuation for both Wyndham and Raymond stays constant. So as valuation goes up, tax impact actually is going to drop because you're increasing the amount of tax base that you have, assuming that there's additional growth in both communities, which Southern Maine real estate market people are.
Yeah, we just got our new valuation shot. I mean, it went way up.
So this is based on last year's.
Yeah.
Based on last year's and where we're at. Just to give kind of a point of reference, that 52 cents, which again, looking at 4 years out, it's gonna vary greatly. That is assuming right now at 52 cents that we would be taking on this debt next year within the budget, and again, it's several years out. So we're hoping that through this process and through 3 possible bond sales that we're ramping this in, so it's not 1 year that you see a 52 cent increase. The first year you might see a 30, then maybe a 40, and then a 50 as you move up through. This is a 20-year bond. The state does provide opportunity now for local portions to go to a 30-year, but the amount of interest that's spent in a 30-year bond versus a 20-year, given where we're at, you're basically paying double for what you'd be financing. And it does increase the amount of debt that would be put onto individual. Scarborough's project is a 30-year bond.
Yeah,
And
it's
so-
weird for them doing it themselves, yeah.
They're doing it
Looking at
themselves.
where they're at.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Sustainability, this is one of the savings also, Joe, is that we have 2 buildings that do require maintenance. And so being able to reduce maintenance for the first couple of years. The question that people are going to be voting on actually says a $200,000 savings. And the reason why it's a $200,000 savings where it's been 300 is the law says within the first 2 years. Well, during the first 2 years when this building is being built, we won't have any kids in it. So not a lot of savings that are going to take place other than some of the maintenance projects that would take place if we were still going to use these buildings long term, we wouldn't be doing. So again, looking at high quality products. Another key component here, that energy use index, which is looking at how much energy using per square footage. Our buildings in our district are used about 60 to 70. As our EUI national average is 100 for schools. This building's we've already had it energy modeled at 34.9. With solar on the roof, the EUI actually drops down to about 17. This is not a net zero building, but drops that down. And Ralph was actually in on some of the conversations. We were looking at insulation factors, wall insulation versus roof insulation versus envelopes. Part of also the local additional is actually going from 2-pane glass to 3, because long-term, greater payback, greater efficiency. In fact, I think the payback period for the windows was less than 10 years. I say 8 or 9. It was a quick turnaround to be able to pay for that energy code. And then healthy buildings. Both buildings were built at a time when air turnover was not a priority. It was heat the space, not necessarily turnover air. So great air quality, natural lighting. We heard that from kids and the staff, to be able to have this building as energy efficient as possible. Just actually going back to energy efficiency, also looking at ways that the building can actually store heat. There's some energy batteries that are out there, which does everything from storing cooling to storing heat, and looking at ways that we can actually harvest heat from the building. So instead of losing it out through windows and other places, saving it for the next day, or transferring it between areas of the building, which is technology that is actually within the standard budget that's done for this building. Natural lighting, lighting that actually can adjust throughout the day, which uses your electricity. Acoustics are good, and we find that healthy buildings, lower absenteeism, learning spaces, mental health, and a reduced carbon footprint. So on November 7th, the community has the opportunity to weigh in on this particular project. And we have 6 months from that September date to pass a referendum. And if it doesn't pass and the community says it's not the thing to do, the money moves on. Instead of 9 schools being done this time, it would be whoever's school number 10. And at this point, School 9, which I think is an Augusta Elementary School, may or may not happen. We'll wait and see. And then the list is going to be shut off. 25, 26, they're going to go back out and rate all the schools. And just because you were number 10 doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be number 1 in the next rating cycle, because another school may jump up. And they go through the process again. So that's where we are at the moment. Been a lot going on the last couple of years with this project. We're excited about it, and if all goes to plan, then it would be opening in the fall of '27. And at that point, I think we need to have a conversation I know there's been interest in Jordan Small, and what the turnover process might look like for that, and then do some planning moving forward.
Okay. Chris, there was some talk online, some comments back and forth about people still wanting to keep Jordan Small open.
Yep.
And I know we as a board made that vote to consolidate, because if we're going to be an RSU, let's do it. Mm-hmm. And personally, I also felt that any of the kids that would be in Jordan Small School would not get that opportunity. And correct me if I'm wrong, we had that one shot to do it, whether we were going to be part of that school or not, and we would still have to pay for it. So I guess I want people out there, I know the bus rides are going to be long. Mm-hmm. I get that. But what you guys are putting together for these kids in school is huge. It's huge. So to I guess tell some of the people that do like the Jordan Small School, you guys can never offer, even if we kept Jordan Small School open as a school, you could never offer what's being put in that middle school. And I mean, and the extra money that would have to be paid out to try to bring it up and everything else, but just looking at this here, there's no way. So I want people to research, I guess, and see what is for the kids. And yes, the ride is going to be longer, but what they're being offered in school is a lot more.
Yeah, a couple of comments I'll make to that. So first of all, and this actually came into discussion, and Derek, this actually goes to your question of the 300,000. If Raymond had decided not to join a consolidated school, Raymond taxpayers would still be paying $300,000 towards the cost of that new school.
Right.
Because of the way that the state funding formula is structured, it would have been a cost. So students in Raymond would have had the option of, through interdistrict, could have gone to it, but kids in Raymond, or families in Raymond, taxpayers in Raymond still would be paying that $300,000 towards the cost of the building. So that part would be there. There are elements of programming in this, and also just to mention is that the Jordan Small leadership and teachers have been part of this process since that decision was made, so they've actually helped design, as have the Raymond students. In fact, Michelle Brand, who's the current principal at Jordan Small, and Greg Stein, who is the principal at Wyndham Middle, are going to be doing a joint presentation Thursday night, talking about programming, so the opportunities that were there. You know, it's funny, I came across some building documents from 15 and 16, which was the last discussion that was talked about, do we build a consolidated middle school, or do we renovate Wyndham Middle School and renovate Jordan Small? And at that time, it was $7 million to renovate Jordan Small, and it was $28 million to renovate Wyndham Middle School. And that was 15-16 construction costs. So for those two, what was the 15-16 cost is actually the local additional right now. And at that time, to do a consolidated middle school was close to $60 million in 15-16 money. And so we're not going to get an opportunity at this price point to build something for $171 million for $39 million. We will never, ever be able to match the programming. That's been one of our struggles since 2009, becoming a district. A program that's offered at Wyndham Middle, to be able to offer it here, and something that kids have here. There's advantages to kids that are here that we can never offer to Wyndham Middle. So to be able to provide that opportunity across kids, yes, absolutely, we need to work on busing. And you know, it also is going to be some opportunity, because the trade-off now that we need to do on the buses, where down at the ball fields, when kids have to transfer buses to the expresses, we won't have to do that any longer, because we'll pick up some time, because all middle school, high school kids will be heading that direction. So some opportunity that's that. But we may need to add some additional bus runs in Raymond in order to be able to do that. And similarly, we have kids that live out on Forest Lake in Wyndham that have to go back through Cumberland to Falmouth to back into Wyndham. You know, for being able to offer them some rides and things. So transportation is definitely a component of this.
Wow, okay.
You may want to mention too your Zoom meetings that you're having, and you know the dates on those and what's being covered each one of those.
I have a quick question on the renovation one. So that 2015 price of roughly 35 million for both of those to combine, none of that was state funded, right? That's all local?
It was all local. It was all local at the time, and the decision at the committee at that point was to take a look at do we put in an application at that point or not? Because the previous rating cycle, Wyndham Middle School, which is the one that went in the application, was number 42, and it jumped from 42 to number 5. So it was a big jump, but 30
It's close
million.
to probably 90 million now.
Yeah, in order to be able to do that renovation. We have been offering some sessions. We did one last week on the financing portion, which tomorrow I'll be sending out something to community and families. They can actually go back and watch it if they've got 30 minutes of boredom or sitting in a car for a game, to talk about the finance portion. This week, Michelle and Greg will be doing programming and going over, here's how we're going to structure programming, here's what a day in the life might look like for a middle level student. That will be Thursday night at 6 on Zoom. The following Thursday on Zoom will be performing arts, sports, and then some of the extracurricular activities that go along with this project. And I know we've talked a lot about buildings. The other component that goes along with this is that the athletic fields are part of the state funding formula. Because the other question that I also get a lot, Teresa, which is that from the Wyndham side, why don't you just build this on the Wyndham High School campus?
Right.
And two reasons. One is this is consolidated, so we wanted to look how close can we start pushing to getting to Raymond. If this had been built on the Wyndham High School campus, we would have lost 4 athletic fields. And so middle school kids would have come out to go to practice, and guess what? They would have gotten on a bus to go to practice somewhere. High school kids would have gone out, gotten on a bus, and gone to practice. This allows now for a fully developed campus at Wyndham High School. So for those Raymond kids who go there, they go out to practice, they go out, all those fields now are Wyndham High School. Kids on this, we now pick up as a district a 56-acre campus, funded largely by state dollars, and I do realize those are taxes to everybody. I live in Cumberland, I'm paying a portion of this, because we're not getting any state funds in our project. So to pick up a 56-acre campus that's there, all new fields, and the typical formula for state is a baseball field, softball field, and 1 utility field. We were able to negotiate based on the side of the school. You notice there are 2 full utility fields. And if you get a chance to drive by this campus, that lower baseball field, utility field, you actually can't see from the road because the property goes up and actually crests over. So there's a whole other field there that you can't see. So great opportunity, and again, 9 acres additional. The town of Wyndham will be signing over in December, should this be a positive referendum. So it's a good thing for kids, and it's a good thing to bring equity across Wyndham and Raymond.
So it'd be 2027 would be the first.
Kids that are currently in 1st through 4th grade would be the first classes that would be in this.
First to the fourth. I got a couple in there. Yeah.
Yep, they're sitting in classrooms
Yeah.
right now.
Hopefully not.
Any more,
did bring
any more questions for Chris? Anyone in the audience, questions for Chris? Chris, good to see you.
Good seeing you as well. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
This looks great. And 2 is you working together with Sue too, which is going to be great.
Yep.
A whole different
Yep.
thing.
So this referendum is on the ballot November 7th.
Yep.
We're going to approve it tonight, just, to go out, so.
And
you're
I
all-
apologize for all the signatures. I don't know what's different this year, but the attorney is asking for multiple signatures on the documents.
Okay, not a problem.
These were mine. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we do have a
We're
few
we're
things.
way in the back
Oh,
on this
no,
one.
they only have.
All right.
What they do.
Yes, because there's an attestation on there for me,
Perfect.
so I sent the other copies away with Mike and said, no.
Ah,
All right,
cool.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Seriously.
All right, minutes of previous meeting, can I have a motion?
Move the minutes from September 12th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. All right. Richard, do you want to hang around? Because this could be a long meeting, or would you like to introduce yourself now and be able to take off?
I think the second option.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Richard Doe. I'm the new library director for the Raymond Village Library. I'm happy to be here and happy to, make the library a great place to be. So, thank you for this opportunity.
Welcome.
Thank you very
welcome.
much,
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. How's it going so far?
So far, so good. It's only been 3 weeks, but just getting smooth. We're back to our regular hours for now, so it's
Oh, good.
yeah.
Good.
A lot of people in the community, and they're all very happy about the library. So,
Great.
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming tonight.
yeah, of course.
You're welcome to hang around if you want. You can see how the town of Raymond operates.
And maybe next time.
All right, well, thank you for coming. Really
Thank you so much.
appreciate meeting you.
Appreciate it.
So,
Yeah,
Bye.
That's awesome.
all right. Consideration of liquor license application, East Shore Tavern. Alex, why don't we start with you?
Good evening.
Hi.
So we still have a notice of violation out there that has not been cleared up.
Mm-hmm.
Any progress? Have you heard from Kyle at all?
No changes since the last meeting.
Is there 1 violation or 2 violations? Because I sent that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's technically, if you look at the NOV, it is technically 1 section from the ordinance, but we had originally noticed him on the expanded seating area out back and the parking area, which is on the abutting property. The parking area is still being used as parking area, and the seating area, Kyle did submit an after the fact permit application. That permit's still on hold in our system for, we just needed proof of right title or interest in the application, so just a copy of the lease or an email from the property owner. So that's the only thing that's outstanding.
And we have not received that.
No. We have a copy of the lease agreement for the parking area on the back section.
Not the building, but not the
Itself.
expansion.
And I'm not sure, maybe he's purchased it since then, I don't know. But yeah, that's the only thing that was outstanding on that.
When was that?
Last fall, last October.
So it's been a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And currently, where that expansion goes, the outside property, it's fenced in, like a fenced in
seating area,
rectangle.
yeah.
And thank you for sending out those maps, because looking at that map, the way that the line goes across is where the new area is, his property for the cafe is right there at the end of that. Is there any kind of setbacks in there at all on those two
Our
things?
commercial district doesn't have setbacks.
Okay.
We don't have normal setbacks.
But noticing that property ends, that fence ends right at the property line. So anybody that's going to be going around the building will be going on the commercial property.
No,
of the-
residential.
Residential, sorry, yes, behind them.
Yep,
Okay,
that's correct.
okay.
All right, Alex.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Kyle,
Evening,
when did you put those no parking signs up?
this afternoon.
I thought you were gonna do it the next day.
That was
That was a month ago, Kyle.
Yeah, that was contingent on my liquor license approval. That was part of the contingency.
That's not what you said, Kyle.
I'll
Kyle,
have them up tomorrow.
Oh.
let me just tell you something, Kyle. I'm getting tired of your running around and lying to me.
I'm not lying to you.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
We could go back and look at the meeting minutes, and we have it on tape.
Good.
You said you were gonna do it the next day.
Part of the approval of the
No,
liquor license.
no.
you said
No.
No, you said you were gonna do it the
Can I
next day.
speak, or am I just going to be overtalked? Am I
Kyle,
allowed-
don't give me attitude.
I'm not giving you attitude.
you
but
are.
This is also a discussion.
You have not cleaned up anything you said you were gonna do. We have pictures
A lot of pictures.
from last meeting to now of all your violations. Okay?
And the violations are.
You're parking out back.
Okay,
Parking
so
in an area and not
if we
supposed to
can
be
speak to
parking.
that, we can get to that right now. Here's the notice of violation right here, 1248 Roosevelt Trail on commercial land. This doesn't happen on commercial land. This happens on residential land. So you're citing a commercial code and commercial zoning on a residential lot. We talked about this last time.
But what you're doing is you're taking customers and are parking back on that
No, I'm
property.
not. You're
Yes.
assuming that I'm doing
No.
it.
Oh,
We have
no, we have a
pictures.
lot of
We have
pictures.
You have pictures of people parking back
Yes.
there?
Yes.
That's right. Is it illegal for me to park registered vehicles on a piece of land?
You said that you were going to park there.
Excuse
so
me.
wait a second. So what happens is last time we were here, last month, I said to you, you have two buildings. I said, how are you going to stop people from parking back there? I said, what's going to stop you from having your employees back there? Because if you have your employees back there, or Kyle parking, it is considered commercial then on that property.
And I never stated that the employees were parked back there. You guys are making
you
you are
said
making
you
an
would
assumption.
not
You're
have it
making
parked
an
there. They said
assumption
your
that my
stop.
employees are parked
Stop.
there.
They said your vehicle would be back there. You said you had a right to go back there because
That's
you
right.
have a lease on it.
That's right.
But it's not just you, Kyle. It's a lot of people parking back there. And in fact, I got another picture today that somebody had, and it's not one person sending them. There's several people that are
Okay.
sending these things. And you know what's crazier is Tuesday night, you came in and we were gonna work with you. We told you to put up the New Jersey, the Jersey barriers.
No, you
and-
didn't. It was signage.
No, stop. Just give me a second.
Are we going to talk facts or are we going to talk?
Stop.
She's not done. Just let her
Kyle?
finish up.
Okay.
Listen up while she's talking.
Okay.
Rolf gave you a break and said to put up no parking signs, and you said, great, I could put, and we said, gave you 14 days. And you said, I can put them up within the week. They just got put up today because there's been so many pictures. You came in here and we were willing to work with you. We are not the police. We are not DHS. We are not any of those. We are dealing with town business with you right now. And what's happening is Thursday night, Thursday night, I get a video to my text message, and you've got an axe throwing out back on that commercial property.
Residential.
Residential. Yes. So, are you saying there wasn't one?
I'm not gonna, go ahead and finish what you're saying so I can,
then
I
I'm
can't
getting
answer.
videos
No.
of other cars back there that are not your cars. And in fact, I thinking, okay, are these people just setting this up or what? I drove down there and there was a trailer with this purple blue truck back there that's down there. And there's others. I've got so many people sending these, and you stood here and you said no. You wanted to be able to have access to your leased property.
Right.
And we told you you cannot have people parking back there, and you said you wouldn't. And it's all been a blank you to us right now from you.
Just let me know when I can respond.
Go ahead.
I stated last time that 10,000 square feet of area is a privately leased lot separate from my operation. I can have a truck and trailer, I can have anything I want back there that's not in connection with that commercial business. You're making an assumption. When you see vehicles and trailers and everything else, you're assuming that I'm letting customers park, you're assuming I'm letting my employees park, but there's nothing there to suggest that that's actually what's happening. I have a leased amount of area that was gonna be planned for an expansion that no longer suits the business needs. It can't be done. I'm locked into a 5-year lease. I can have my contractors that work for me park there if I please. I can park my trailers there. I can park whatever I want to park there. And you guys can't make an assumption because you see vehicles that these are going to be customers to my business. And that's all we're going off is an assumption that you guys drive by, you see some vehicles, you're making the assumption that those vehicles are customers in there. You don't come into that facility. I saw you out there looking around and taking pictures. You could walk in and ask, but not one of you people on this board in 3 years have walked into that facility. Never introduced yourself.
That's
no,
not true.
Oh, really?
So,
Untrue.
so the funny thing is,
I've eaten there quite a bit.
right out front of your establishment,
Sure.
axe throwing. And what do you have out back of your building? Axe throwing. That people have been in there drinking, which they are not allowed past.
No, nobody's drinking on that trailer. Nobody. First of all, the insurance wouldn't allow it with the vendor that's on the outside
So
that
somebody
presides.
signed their name John Henry on there.
What?
So when they were doing the axe throwing. So this is the stuff, and it's. I'm not going to sit here, I guess, and be lied to and be made a fool of, because I feel like that's exactly what you're doing. And then you put something on TikTok that says walking into select board meetings is like knowing that you're going to tick
That's
off
a personal
98% of
opinion,
it.
and that obviously is what happens here. Look at the way that you're acting. Look at
Because
the
you're
way that I've been
lying to us,
treated.
Kyle.
No, there's no lie. You're assuming that I'm lying to you because you've seen one thing. You don't come in to
Kyle,
talk
I
to
asked
me
you last
personally.
time we had this if you had any commercial activity going on that personal property, and especially with the dumpsters, and you said no.
There wasn't. Yeah.
So there's dumpsters, 2 dumpsters on that property that are not being used for any commercial.
The dumpsters are mine, and I rent the property. So I can dump all my trash there as I want. It's under
I'm just-
Charlie Holdings LLC. That's the landholder. I use that for my trash.
Okay, well, I'm asking. I asked last time. I'm asking now. You don't use no trash from the commercial property goes into the dumpsters on the personal property.
So we use that in conjunction, yeah. But where's trash at? And if you want us to slide the dumpsters forward, no problem. Just say that. I mean, at the end of the day, you guys are sitting here. You're telling me that I'm a liar. I'm not a liar. You're telling me that I can't park.
I asked you last week if
Can I
that was
speak?
used
Can I finish?
commercially,
I mean, can
and
I
you
finish?
said no. It wasn't.
It's not
Now
used
you're
for-
saying yes.
You guys are
But
assuming that. So
do you put trash from a commercial property from the building?
from time to time, yes.
So it is used
Okay.
commercially, and
It's
you
not.
said no, it wasn't.
That does not. Just because there's a dumpster on that property does not consider that commercial property. It's residential property. It's every
Right?
residential
I didn't ask you
property.
what it
If
was,
every
what
resident.
kind of property it was.
There's
I
a
said
lot of
using your trash from your commercial building and putting it in those dumpsters, and you said no. Before you said they weren't even there.
Is there an ordinance that says that?
I'm not
I can't have-
asking ordinances. I asked
Then
you
what
a
are you
question.
asking?
You answered it, and now it's the opposite. You're saying you are
There's
using
2
it.
dumpsters there.
Right, and you said they weren't
So does that
used.
constitute commercial operation on that residential lot?
I'm
Alex?
asking you. If
you put commercial trash in
you're
it-
The code enforcement officer's right here. Can we ask him?
Commercial trash in it, it is now commercial.
Really? Is
Once
that
you
how
put
that's the
commercial
with
trash in it,
dumpsters?
it is now used.
No, it's not. We're gonna get up and so he's the code
It's what?
enforcement
Alex.
officer.
So the axe throwing thing that's parked there, that's
Let's
not
stick to
commercial
one
too?
thing, the dumpster first, please.
I'll-
Can we get through each one?
I would love to, but you changed your story from last week to
No,
this
I'm
week
not.
just on that.
I'm talking about a dumpster. We're asking if it constitutes a commercial property. If it's dumpster.
Alex, please.
Hi.
So he's throwing commercial trash into a dumpster on private property.
Yes.
Does that make it commercial
Yes.
use? Thank you.
Commercial use, totally.
So we can slide the dumpsters forward, put it on commercial property. Problem solved.
The axe throwing truck.
Just like you were gonna put the signs up the next time, Kyle.
It was my understanding that when we left here, and if I can finish, please, because you keep asking questions and then you interrupt me. My understanding was that you, when you approved my liquor license before the nonsense that happened in the last meeting, that you would approve the liquor license contingent that the signs got up within 14 days. I told you 7 days. I didn't leave here with my liquor license. So that's not a, I lied to you. That's not, I'm being rude. You stated on the video that contingent to my liquor license being approved, that I would have to put those signs up. I left that evening without a liquor license. Actually, you approved it and you rescinded it afterwards.
And then you got it the next day with the letter.
You got a 30 days.
You guys
You
had
should've gone
60
7
days
days
to make.
from
You
there.
guys had 60 days to make a decision on it, and Larry Sanborn told you that. You were in a position where you either had to deny it or file for my extension. Those were the two
We
options.
filed for your extension.
That's right, because
yes,
that- you
within
got-
7 days. And if it was me under fire the way you are right now, I would have had signs out there. I would have had signs all over the place. So you're saying today, with those little signs that you have out there that somebody
No
said to
parking,
me,
as we agreed on.
there's
Yep.
like 5, 6 people out there and they're doing construction at 4:30 in the
What
afternoon?
I'm saying is it's not right for you to assume that you know
That's
what
why I'm
those
asking
peop-
you right
and I've
now.
told you, there are people down there that I know that I could park there. There's people that leave their vehicle there so they can go and carpool with other people. There's multiple reasons why there's vehicles down there. And
wow.
the assumption that you are
There's no
trying...
assumption with an axe throwing trailer that's on the, it
If you-
takes up the entire spot. You have a huge sign that says axe throwing Thursday nights. So
I'm
I don't, you can't tell me that's not commercial.
Is there any parking that was around that commercial trailer that you're speaking of? That
I'm not
actually...
talking about, that truck is parked, yes.
It's blocking
truck
the whole
is-
back
So-
end.
It's parked on the-
This whole thing is about parking. We're not talking about commercial, we're talking about parking.
No, it's commercial use on a residential lot. That's
How is that
what
commercial
It
use?
is parking. The guy's not driving around. If you're driving around while people are axe throwing, it's kind of dangerous.
If he's
parked there
if
with
he's
a trailer, and your customers are out there throwing axes,
Yes.
there's a giant sign that says so.
Yes.
And it's all on this residential lot.
Okay, so I had a vehicle out there that was parked, correct? That's what we're coming down to, because
No, I just told you what I said. What
Right, there was a
you're
vehicle-
literally
an act-
doing your bar.
Playing word games with this whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm not playing word games, Kyle.
we
You
don't
know
have
where
to
we're
play
at.
word games, but we're not gonna
You
play
can't sit
assumptions.
up there and tell. There's no assumption.
There
What-
is.
What's the assumption of people throwing axes in a trailer and you have it out front that
The
you are?
issue with this,
Why, are
the
you, why,
violation.
are the, why is the axe throwing trailer
You want
there?
to issue me a
No, why is
violation
the
with
axe
axe
throwing
throwing?
trailer
You want
there?
to issue me a
Why
violation for
is the axe
commercial
throwing
use on
trailer
residential
there?
property? That's fine. This right here,
Why is the axe throwing trailer there?
can I speak now?
Yeah,
I'm
you
done
can answer
having
the
you, I've
question.
already answered your question. I don't know how many
Right.
times you want to answer.
You haven't answered why
If
the axe
you want to
throwing trailer
issue
is
me a
there.
new violation for using commercial use on a residential property, that's fine. This right here, this is valid. It's not valid. If it was, you guys should have moved on it. And the bottom line is, this should have never been issued. It was a commercial property that wanted to extend into a residential property. We abandoned those efforts. I'm stuck with the land. You're trying to assume that I let parking for my establishment happen there. I'm telling you that it's not. Unless there's some kind of evidence that you guys can provide that those people are solely there for the use of my facility, I'm not sure what grounds you got to
Pretty
stand
black
on.
and white. There's a giant.
It's not black and
trailer.
white, it's an assumption.
Derek.
And this right here is, if you look at it, no site plan approved for non-residential use of structure, except for single-family dwellings, duplex dwellings, accessory uses to single-family or duplex dwellings, maintenance of an existing facility or building, or interior renovations to an existing building or facility which do not change the use or increase the amount of parking. No building permit should be issued for a new building, new facility, exterior renovation, existing building, or facility. Any alteration or addition of impervious areas or substantial change to the use of an existing building or facility and is planned require a site plan review. So this violation is to say that I didn't go in front of the planning board to approve site plan review. I do not require site plan review to have a private piece of land that parks my vehicles or people that I allow to park there. This does not stop me from doing that. This is not valid. And it cannot, I don't know what more we could talk about. This isn't even addressed to, it says it's on my commercial lot. My lot that I leased that you're talking about is a residential lot. That parcel ID number, that's not the residential lot where it's in question right now. So you guys are taking two separate issues, my commercial operation and my leased land, and you're trying to put it together as one.
Because that's what
You,
you're
you
doing.
applied for a permit and you didn't
No,
follow.
no, I did not apply for a permit, and he just told you I didn't apply for a permit. I sat
Alex,
down and I
can
spoke
you
with
stand
him
up,
about
please?
this.
But he's still using
Okay,
it.
before we continue, we probably should point out the fact that this NOV can be appealed if he feels that there's any errors.
Right,
Did he appeal them?
no.
No, there was no appeal filed. So
Right. So
we
he's
have to
still in
assume that
violation.
he got the NOV, he reviewed the NOV, and did not feel like appealing the NOV at
Right.
that point. So we don't need to get into the weeds on the technicalities on this NOV. We can go through point by point, be a great exercise if we want to go through this section.
No,
Talk
but this
about how it
isn't the,
applies.
this isn't the venue to do that.
It's not.
Exactly, so that's not ours. So what I'd like to do,
Let's keep going first.
well, what I'm saying is, I say a motion to table this until next month again, because we have two things on the table. We have a lot of evidence right now that shows that he is mixing them compared to last month's meeting that said he would not, because I specifically asked if he would let staff and other people park back there, and he said no. So I am making a motion to table this until next month to see if anything is done. He has to go through Alex to fix this. This is not the venue to do it.
I'd rather not entertain that motion right now, so we can continue to just have some discussion and then arrive at whatever we need to arrive at. So, Cumberland County Sheriff's Report.
Sure, let's get into that.
You had 15 violations in 2022,
No, that's incorrect. And I want to also speak to you how you pull that report.
and you have 14 issues so far in 2023 through September 12th.
I think that it's interesting that the way that this was worded and calls for service, speaking with the records department and speaking with the local sheriffs, these logs are simply pulled based on the name being added. So if there's a traffic violation, which says traffic offenses, in front of 1248 Roosevelt, or Cafe Sebago, or East Shore Tavern, it is simply noted in the call log as a location that the incident happened, whether it be a violation with a moving vehicle, whether it be contact with somebody that they're looking for. This in no way, shape, or form is any definitive evidence that these people have came to my property, these have been an issue on my property, or any of these calls were directly linked to the East Shore Tavern. Furthermore, I pulled up my own records through CCSO, and I went through the proper channels, and the proper channels said that I can show you the actual report for East Shore Tavern if you'd like, because it differs very greatly from the copy that you guys put out.
Was that East Shore or is that Cafe Sebago? Is that both? Because you have to look at both too.
That was both.
And I have copies right here.
East Shore.
And
It's East Shore.
this was obtained from CCSO Records
So
Department.
is that.
No, well, actually, they don't have a record of anybody from the town of Raymond pulling up this. So you did not get it from the Records Department. So wherever this was pulled from, that I can, listen, Christopher Piles has confirmed that he's looked through the log. The town of Raymond has made no such request through the Records Department for this data. So wherever you got this information from is not from the Records Department, it's not through proper channels, and it's not documented.
Not through proper channels?
Go ahead.
The proper channels would be through the Records Department so it could be logged in. That's what I did, and my log will be there. And my records, here it is. It says from the Sheriff's Department. It differs from what you guys have there greatly. And I can read off.
Get these from?
I called Mark Marion, who was our contact at the
Cumberland.
Cumberland County, and he contacted the records department, and he had them create these reports for me.
Thank you.
And here's a copy of the records request that I made to the Sheriff's Office that have Raymond and East Shore Tavern that are drastically different. So I don't know, again, what you want to look at, but these were never designed to definitively say, oh, there was a traffic stop at Cafe Sebago. There was attempt to locate at Cafe Sebago. Simply used as landmarks for incidents that happen. So this could have happened on 302. There could have been somebody pulled over across the street. The officer sees 1248 on my sign. They see East Shore Tavern. It's logged in there as a log for reference. I also, furthermore, after the last meeting, I spoke with Sergeant Marion and Sergeant Parody. They both are sergeants that patrol this area. I went directly to them and had a meeting for 30 minutes apiece and asked them about a lot of the things that was said by Cary Grant and her boyfriend and some of the other things that were floating around. I can tell you right now that those 2 meetings resulted in, there is no issue with me and the sheriff's office. Both of those patrol sergeants said they're not looking into me. They're not concerned about the amount of people that I have, the kind of people that are there, or the incidents that happen, because they've only been there one time in regards to me in the last 365 days. And that was more recently, and it was about 2 months ago. So these people, they're not seeing increased OUIs. They're not seeing increased fighting. I'm telling you what you're not seeing on here. You're not seeing assault. You're not seeing multiple intoxication. You're not seeing traffic accidents out in front of this place. These cannot be used to show that I'm doing something irresponsible, simply because this is a call log. My place has been used as a reference. And furthermore, if you want to look into your version versus my version, traffic offenses, 911 hang-up, citizens assist. There was a theft. A gentleman lost his wallet there one morning, called the police in case it turned up. I mean, this isn't nitty-gritty stuff. And those calls are not calls of service to East Shore Tavern.
So, again, the police have theirs, DHS has theirs, the state liquor board has theirs. We have ours in our own town. So, again, I want to put that motion out there.
Hang on 1 second. So Alex, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
So we've had this notice of violation for a year. It's never been appealed.
Yep.
So the appeal would be to the what?
Board of Appeals. Yep.
Okay. Which meets when?
They meet as needed or once a month.
Okay.
Yeah. Someone can still make an appeal, even though they're beyond the appeal period. But there's no guarantee that it'll be heard.
Right.
So, but how do we fix the parking out back?
Good question.
We put the Jersey barriers up. But again, it's stuff that he has to discuss with Alex and not here.
So would the violation reach the point where we deny him a liquor license? That's the question in front of you. And then if he would have to appeal that to the liquor enforcement, who would have a hearing at that point. That's.
I'm just saying, he's had a month. He knew what we were asking.
He's had a year.
Yes. Yes. He also knew what we were asking. And to sit here and say that.
This violation is not
Hold on a minute. I'm not
applicable
done.
to East Shore Tavern.
I'm not done. Kyle, for you to stand up there with a straight face and go at us like this and say that these are all contractors or whatever behind you is the biggest
That's your opinion.
craziness. It is my opinion.
There's no
You're right.
opinion of
Wait a
it.
second. Hold on.
It is. It's all your
So,
opinion.
listen, I'm not going to have you stand up there and make us fools. I'm not.
I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to think that maybe.
Again, that axe throwing thing out Thursday night, knowing full well what we were asking of you, and knowing full well that you were driving from commercial property onto residential property to go around or to even park it, is a violation. So, to me, we were just saying no. We said no, and again, we went to the state liquor board and wrote them that letter that says, hey, give them 30 days too while we investigate this stuff. Rolf even said just put up parking signs. And then you put up parking signs today? Really? Out of 30 days?
Yeah.
Wow. Take
Listen.
that one, SelectBoard. That's pretty much exactly what you did.
No, I didn't. No,
You
I
did.
didn't. No, I didn't.
So
Again,
again,
we were contingent on
I-
putting those signs up if I left here with a liquor license. That's what it was. You could roll the tape. Why would we even talk about it?
Oh my God.
We're not going to get into that.
And that's fine.
Okay.
I am.
So,
Each month that goes by, he has to work with Alex and get it settled as to what the code is and what is correct as far as not using that property behind you for any kind of commercial use. That is why I am saying table this for another month. But I'm not going to have it on my shoulders that his employees are not working because that's something you should have taken care of right away. So if you don't have a state liquor license because of it, it's not my fault.
I just don't understand how this could be commercial. It's 1248 Roosevelt Trail. Show me the violation that happened on 1248
You haven't
Roosevelt
noticed a
Trail.
violation in front of you.
That's right,
all
but
you
it
need
doesn't
know.
apply
You
to a
did not
resident.
appeal it. You had a year to appeal it, Kyle. You didn't do it. You gave us the finger. That's
Yeah.
what you
No,
did.
I did not give you.
Yes.
Okay.
So a motion
I see.
to,
A motion to extend the liquor license for 30 days.
no, I do not want the liquor license extended. We did that last month and he didn't do it.
What are we doing here? Are we trying to cut out my
We're talking-
livelihood over this?
No, we're not.
Of
But
course
we're
you
also
are.
not going to sit here
Of
and have
course
you
you
go
are.
bleep you to us either, Kyle.
I'm not. You
Because
guys are
2
taking
nights
two
later,
separate
you went down
things.
there with that axe throwing truck.
The operation that you're licensing right now has nothing to do with your dispute on that land. Nothing.
Yes, it
Until you,
does.
then prove it.
Because it's
Time to go.
Your tape, you got dumpsters that are still there. If it was me, I would have cleaned up the thing that next day. I would have moved the damn dumpsters to where they're
Everything.
supposed to be. They're not on there. I would have put up that light thing, and I would have had it all done that next day, like you said you could do. I could have that done the
Yep.
next day. You didn't do a damn thing. You said, the hell with them. Well, I don't care what they do.
No, I did
You know,
not.
You did, in effect, because you did nothing.
In effect, I
gave
did
you-
nothing. No, I
gave you the opportunity.
I had to spend my time fighting
I gave you the
to
opportunity.
try to get my liquor license
You did
renewed
not.
that you guys wanted to
That's the
withhold.
problem.
That's what I was busy doing. The next day, I spoke with the liquor inspector. The liquor inspector called you guys and said, you have your 60 days to make a decision. You either give him his renewal or give him a denial. That's where we're at today. If you guys choose to deny me here, that's well within your rights. But you're not going to table it. It's 60 days past. I can appeal this right now as the time sits. This is a
You can appeal what?
This decision. Do you realize that I can go right and appeal the decision if you deny it tonight?
Yeah.
You need to make a decision. There's no more tabling it. You had 60
You're right.
days. You either
Motion
deny
to,
it.
Then I'm going to make a motion to deny his liquor license, and then he's got 30 days to get things right. That's my motion on the table. Because we gave you 30 days.
Been moved and seconded.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Sam?
I think his hand is up,
Okay.
yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
Unanimous. You have 30 days to appeal. You can appeal right to liquor enforcement.
Sure. I'm going to need something in writing to make sure that I can document why you're denying this, and I'll need that by tomorrow.
Because you have a violation that you haven't taken care of.
Okay. Well, then, we'll see you on the other side. Thank you very much.
All right.
Sorry to put you in that.
Actually, can I just ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
If he comes, so if he has the violation resolved tomorrow, for example, then you're good.
Yep.
Let me ask you, how does he resolve that?
Loam and seed it,
Yep.
and you
Like
can
we
do that
have.
tomorrow.
Or
Or-
put Jersey barriers in.
To stop people from
Could,
going around
yeah.
back? But
Problem with that is they could be moved. He could move one, and then in 6 months he's got parking back there again. I don't know.
And-
I'd like to see it either loam and seed or get site plan approval.
Yep.
okay, then make that your goal on that. Do you know what I mean? As far as that's what needs to be done. But I saw videos the other night of people ramming those Jersey barriers pretty hard. So
Yeah.
Sue wanted something.
The motion wasn't to, if he fixes it,
No.
no. So he would
Is-
not get his license back.
It was a
by
motion to
simply fixing
deny. He has to now
What was the
appeal.
30-day thing? I heard there was
He has
something
30
about-
days until we have another meeting and he can put it back on the agenda. That's what I'm
He's
assuming.
appealing. He's got 30 days to appeal.
No, he appeals to the liquor
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
He has to appeal to the Department of Liquor, yes.
But we still can say no on the
But if he fixes it
License.
tonight, that doesn't give him his liquor license back.
Okay.
He can, we could have an emergency meeting if need be. Okay?
Yes.
But that's what it would require, yes.
Right.
keep forgetting Sam's up
Yeah.
there.
Okay? It's been a year.
It really has.
All right.
Do we want to take the business license application
Yep.
out of turn?
Moon Enterprises, that you guys? All right. I bet you can't wait to come to town now.
Okay.
No,
Well, so last month, we had the same issue last month, and there was other people here that were doing business, and they're just like, do you want to get up and talk?
I've been in town meetings before,
Yeah.
before this in other towns, so I've seen some
All
stuff
right.
go down.
All right,
When you
come on.
step up and introduce yourself and.
So we're on 5B now.
My name is Tyler Monahan. I'm the owner of Moon Enterprises. We are trying to open up a retail marijuana shop at 1259 Roosevelt Trail, which
Is the old B&B.
which is the former, so we took it over,
Yep.
so now I'm doing the approval process of it.
Are you actually in the building now?
Yes. I have the lease right here.
So the other place is out?
Yes.
So you have electricity and all that now?
Yep.
Okay.
No, the generator's not hooked up anymore.
Okay, all right. Okay, and it's solely medical?
It's for now. I think that's just because we'd like to do adult use because that's just the way that's the way it's going right now. Medical is kind of,
Yeah,
adult use is what everybody's doing. It's kind of,
but you do know Raymond doesn't allow adult use.
I do know that.
We had a referendum.
Yeah.
And they voted it no.
They voted.
So knowing
Yeah.
that, are you guys still up for that? Because it's, yeah.
Either way, we are still up for it. We are medical.
Okay,
Just,
so just realize that you
Go up to
can't
the
do
thing.
regular retail,
yeah.
adult use.
So the referendum's a town vote pretty much, right?
Yeah,
Right. Okay, cool.
and that was a year ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah,
Because it's either opt in or opt out. We did decide the
Right.
public, and they said no.
right.
Okay.
So, yeah, are you okay with just doing?
Yeah, we're medical as is, so it doesn't really change much for us. It's just the way that it's gone is medical is kind of a dying thing,
Right.
and adult use is just everybody's transferring.
Exploding. Yep.
Pretty much what's going to happen is all medical will most likely go away. That's the way it is in most states, and then it just kind of transforms into adult use. So
Yeah.
So
but-
how do you do, first off, are you guys anywhere else, or is this going to be your only store? And second, how do you do that knowing that yours may fade out and we're not doing adult use?
Well, I guess medical probably won't go anywhere for a couple of years. There's still good money in it. Most likely, most towns will probably opt in over time. Over time, it's growing, so things change. I don't see
It would
Raymond.
require a whole new vote.
Right.
And
It would require a vote, it would require,
a change
it
in
would
ordinance.
require an ordinance, it would require a town meeting vote.
Yeah, you'd have to get back on the ballot. You'd have to get
Yeah.
so many signatures, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
So do you guys have another store?
Yeah, we have one that we're building across from the Hannaford at the Five Corners.
Five Corners.
Poland?
In Poland?
Poland. Well, it's actually technically Mechanic Falls.
Oh, yeah, the
So,
little one. All right.
I'm building. I have a store right there.
There's a little florist.
That's right by the school, right?
Yeah.
I'm 505 feet away, but yeah.
You make it by 5 feet. Wait,
Yeah, no, we are
Is
very.
it that corner store that's there? Is that
No.
or near the propane place?
No, you go down.
It's the Chipmunk storage. It's like it's a storage facility
Oh, on 9/11
on 26.
on 26.
Yep.
Okay.
5 feet.
This is Wes. He's gonna be the manager of the store.
Pending
So.
approval, I'll be the manager of the location in Raymond. So our plan was to get approval for medical, and then down the line, potentially, there's another space for rent in the suite next to us, and that would be, if it was allowed, future adult use, but that's not our plan for at least a few years out. So it would be pending approval, obviously, and do the medical thing correctly and do that first, and then if we could down the line add that, but one suite and then the other suite would be.
Yeah, we're just trying to warn you ahead of time that there's very little chance that Raymond's going to approve adult use marijuana
Well,
for quite a few years.
but here's another thing. That building down there was just the building. And then what happens is the gentleman that was in the store before you guys, he came to the select board meeting and said they actually built that addition on for adult use and wanted us to opt in. So they said they were all ready to go because they built that spot, especially for this. So they went and spent money not going through the process and everything else. So Yeah, we don't want you blindsided. That.
No, we're aware of that. It's a lot of towns don't opt in.
Wayne, I mean, when we went, the other guy that was gonna go in there,
They actually
Sean
built
Brody.
that
we started
for adult
down the
use and
inspection route
wanted
and
us
whatnot.
to opt in. So they said they were all ready to go because they
Sam?
built that spot,
Why-
yeah,
we're
especially
getting
for
the
this.
recording
So
back
they went and
closed.
spent money
Sam?
going through the process and everything
Are you
else.
talking
So
to her?
It's
yeah,
Wayne.
we don't want you blind.
Where are we?
Oh,
Maybe mute him.
Wayne.
Okay, Wayne, have you done an inspection there yet? Because I know when we went through it, started down here the last time, you'd done part of it and there was some issues and whatnot.
get in.
Have you been back in there yet?
We met today on site and did a preliminary inspection because he's still doing some remodeling of the space. So we would need at some point to go back in and do a final inspection based on the things that we saw today and the verbal corrections that we discussed with the applicant.
Okay, and so you know the things that need to be done?
Yeah, it was a couple small things. It's not a big deal. So.
When do you plan on opening?
Well, probably by Christmas, hopefully.
Okay.
Optimistically, who knows?
All right. I have a-
So, all right, a motion to approve the application of Moon Enterprises LLC doing business as Eclipse.
Condition.
Yeah, but it's conditioned on, based on doing everything.
Passing the fire
Yeah,
inspection.
with the fire inspector.
Okay.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Welcome to Raymond.
Thank you. Easier than the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
don't take a year to get with our
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
chief and.
Just don't stand up there and lie to us.
Yeah.
Well,
Mr. Chair,
nice to meet you guys. Thank you.
You too. Welcome to Raymond.
since we've kind of thrown the agenda up in the air and let it come down wherever it may,
Yeah.
could we allow Sharice to wander?
She was
off?
next.
Yeah, perfect.
Consolidation or consideration of update of the post-issuance compliance policy. Everybody have a chance to read it?
Yeah, I guess, the only thing that, let's see, let me get to where that was.
Where'd we go, D now?
You speak into the microphone.
C, yes.
Oh, sorry.
I guess the only
Oh, C.
thing that I would suggest that we do there, in addition, just in addition there, it's in regards to, now I gotta remember where it was. Where it says something, something there, it says, the compliance officer or the
Or its
or the
designation.
compliance officer's designation.
Yeah.
I would like to also add in there, or
Town manager.
the select board designee. And the reason being, you can get into a situation where the treasurer is, for one reason or another, is not there. And so now you really don't have a compliance officer, but the select board could appoint one. So that should be added into that policy.
Okay, so is that
And I'm trying to
number
remember.
4, perhaps, prior to the change in use? Or anywhere it says the compliance officer?
No, it was a general thing. It said, I'm trying to remember where it was now. I had it and
It should be.
I marked it someplace, but I didn't mark it on this.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
It's under general provisions. The town treasurer or the treasurer's designee shall serve as the compliance officer. So just, it would be town treasurer, the treasurer's
see, yeah.
designee, or appointed by the, I'm not sure exactly how you want to word, but appointed by the select board, just to give another avenue there to fill, to have that position filled in the event that something happens and 1 and 2 are not there.
Don't you think the town manager ought to be involved in this
Yes.
somehow?
because they're the one that's overseeing all of it and that technically the town treasurer and whoever else and compliance officer are all underneath the town manager, so it needs to be.
I mean,
approved.
or if you did, if you did the town manager, you wouldn't have to say the select board.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
because
the
it's
town
already
manager
appointed.
Yes.
operates under the direction of the.
So-
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, you could, so you could,
You could do either.
Because something comes down and something goes wrong.
Yeah, it's
gonna
under
be-
general procedures number 1. The town treasurer or the treasurer's designee.
And
I
it's
think you would say the town treasurer, the
And-
town, or the town manager shall serve as the compliance officer.
Yep.
or the town, or the town manager's designee. I would say the town manager's designee, because the town manager may
Yeah,
not have
sure.
the, I mean, I would say the town treasurer or the town,
Yeah.
or the town manager's
Designate,
designee.
yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That just, that gives, because, if something happens and the treasurer isn't there, they can't designate
That's what
someone.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
understand. One other point of clarification, because, and I don't know if Sue had mentioned it to you folks.
No.
On page 4 of the blue line document, under B, 6B, it says prior to posting of a final official statement,
Mm-hmm.
the town board of selectmen will review the same, and only after their authorization shall the final official statement be posted. So we are due to close on this $1.1 million on, I think it's November 1st. We need to, the bids will be opened on November 1st. And the final POS, the final official statement would be posted the next day. And that's why it was suggested by our advisor to change that to prior to posting of the preliminary official statement instead of the final, only because of our timeline on closing this 1.1 million.
We have no problem meeting real quick for an emergency meeting. We usually could get 3 of us
Well, I mean,
together.
there's 2 ways you can approach that. The one is, I'm assuming this came from legal counsel someplace.
Yes,
And
yeah, and I just
Yeah,
was looking
and
at
so
our
the,
timeline.
So the one avenue to do it, so that this doesn't run afoul of the November 1 date, is for us not to approve this until after that's done.
Right.
Therefore, you're operating under the old auspices, and if it said that or not. So you could still.
But the old policy does not comply with
But,
the legal components of the Securities Exchange Commission and posting of documents on the municipal securities website, as well as what they call EMA. It's an electronic municipal posting. So those were additions to our current policy to be in compliance with that. Or I think Teresa's suggestion of having a quick meeting.
Well, and Zach suggested that instead we send the final version out to you folks by email, you sign it, and it come back as long as you don't have any discussion whatsoever
Right.
amongst yourselves on
Yep.
the email.
I'm fine with that, and then our names are on it and not
Yep.
somebody else's then. Yep.
Just send it out with DocuSign and, yeah.
Okay,
And you'll-
so we'll leave it as final.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna change that 1.
Okay. So when you send out the the statement is when we're gonna sign it? Or are we saying you're gonna send out the policy for us to sign?
Which one was it?
The
I'll go
policy
back and-
first.
Yeah, it's the policy first.
So we can approve the policy right now, and then you send us a statement that
Yeah.
we could sign.
we just approved the policy based
Right.
on, that one.
And we could approve the statement based on this policy by
On an
DocuSign.
individual basis
Yes.
via DocuSign.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
That work for you?
Yes.
Prior to November 1st.
So that was the only change we have, right? Was
Yep.
the designee thing? So,
Okay.
So can I have a motion?
move to approve the policy as amended.
My second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous?
So we're not signing this one?
No, well,
No, because it's.
no,
It has to be changed.
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Sue will tidy it up.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Question through to the chair.
Yes?
I had on my agenda the Beacon for consideration for their liquor license.
We're just not there yet. We're gonna go there next.
We're
Oh,
making you
okay.
sit longer.
Sorry, Wayne.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure I didn't
Yeah.
miss it.
No? All right, the liquor renewal license on the Beacon. Any issues, Wayne, on the inspection?
So, we're scheduled to do the inspection for that after the hood cleaning on the 17th.
Okay. 17th.
But I mean, that was the only deficiency was the hood. Uh-oh, he froze.
Shouldn't have scratched his head.
He moved.
That's a hard scratch.
Sam, can you hear us?
Wayne?
There you go.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Wayne, you're back.
Scratched your head. Don't move your
Don't
hands.
scratch your head again, Wayne. You froze.
Okay. Yeah, it's freezing up on my end. I'm sorry about
That's
that.
okay.
Is there any other
So,
issues?
did you?
No, we
so
didn't hear anything.
we didn't hear what you said.
So, we talked about the grease, and were there other issues?
There's nothing that I have other than we need to make sure the grease hood is cleaned and inspected like it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Okay. So, and you said that's going to be on the
17th.
17th is, the 17th is when they're cleaning it, and then you'll be in like the next day or something?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would move to approve the license, subject to the hood cleaning and final inspection by fire.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thanks, Wayne.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yep.
could I ask one more time to change the agenda to let Kevin go because he's hanging out for the cybersecurity policy?
I hung out to read that whole thing.
Yeah.
Kevin, are you there?
Kevin.
I am here, yes.
So Kevin, you going to be an author? I mean,
Oh my God. Kevin.
200 pages?
Hold on a sec. Okay, just resetting my sound, okay.
200 pages?
Yeah, so this is actually, I've been in this business like 50 years. So I wrote my first program like in 1973. So this is actually a pretty cool project because using my knowledge and an AI, and it's not Chat GPT, it's called Claude.ai. I was able to do the work that would normally have taken me probably 3 or 4 months in a period of 2 or 3 weeks. So this document uses all the sources for the best practices, things that are required, things that the insurance people are looking for, things that the bond rating people are looking for, and just general, best practices for IT organizations.
It's quite thorough, I have to tell you.
I mean, I went through it, but I guess there's just, and maybe I went over it because there was a lot there, and maybe I went over it. But is there anything in there, and if not, we need to put it in there, that says any information put on on town-owned devices is the property of the town?
Yeah, that's in there.
Is
There's a place in there that, and I can't remember where it is.
I remember seeing it, yes.
Definitely, if you're an employee of the town, anything that's created, in your time at the town and put on the town's servers or anything else like that would be created. Now, we also, part of the policy is that can be restricted from people using that to a certain extent.
Ta-da, you're back.
my computer. We're going over the
just had an
computer
auction.
policy right now.
Sorry.
You have a computer.
There you go.
So, and this, as I don't know if it is in the email I gave Sue, the policies are the first part, and from the policies then come the standards and the procedures, which are basically the technical parts.
Yeah.
And I've, started to work on those, and that's gonna take probably another, a couple of months of work, because there's a lot to that.
I have to say, if Kevin wrote this and everything, I am not even going to question it because Kevin covers everything. So
Every possible scenario is covered.
Well, I'm sure there are some things that, and I'd appreciate if you guys do read it and just think of something that is missing, and because I thought of a couple more that I could add already for policies, but this is a living document, and we will keep track of versions, and as a new version is created, you will have to approve each version before it obviously becomes active.
So this is me reading one thing in here. Schema documentation should define network addressing, DHCP scopes, NAT setup, Wi-Fi networks, and VPN configurations. Huh?
You don't know what any of that
Well, those are kind of technical at that point, but that's saying, in order to control your data, you must, follow some of these policies.
Nope,
And then there'll be standards and procedures that actually say how to follow those policies and what are the actual acceptable policies.
And I know with Kevin, I call and I have an issue. Right? He's there, yeah. So nope.
Kevin, I really appreciate all your work.
Yes.
This is quite something. I've never seen anything like it, and it's quite thorough, and you did a great job. Thank you.
Oh, I appreciate that, and like I said, we're striving to do. It will be valuable when you go to get a loan or bond, or the insurance.
Good.
For this.
We were asked for this for the bond process.
Yeah, I know.
And Kevin worked his tail off to
I
do
know in
this.
my business, our insurance makes sure we have a policy and cover everything that's in that handbook.
Wow, Kevin. So I'm going to make a motion to accept the Town of Raymond, Maine Comprehensive Information Technology Policies, Procedures, and Standards Handbook.
I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Sam? Yep. Unanimous. Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay.
How many
Trying to
pages is this?
figure out where I am. All right, consideration of new street name, Sheila's Way.
That is a street name that Bruce did run through the protocol for E911. It makes it was their second choice, their first one didn't, and it is for a new street.
Okay, and that's off 85 somewhere?
Yes.
Oh, where?
Where, I'm not sure.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for not knowing.
All right.
Move to approve Sheila's Way.
I have a second.
The street name, let me rephrase that. Move to approve the name Sheila's Way.
The street named Sheila's
Sheila's
Way.
Way.
The street name Sheila's Way,
Right.
not the
Second.
street
And I
name.
got a second. Any
Second.
discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you.
Do we have to sign these?
Because
It just doesn't really have any place. We can just sign it anywhere.
We need to, well, there is a place that says selectmen, I think, at the bottom.
Oh, selectman approval?
Yeah, so that form needs to be
didn't want it
recreated.
to be interpreted in at all that we
Right.
approved the road.
Right. Exactly. All right.
Shut up.
Consideration of MOU with the New Raymond Professional Firefighters Association, IAFF. I assume that's International Association of Firefighters.
Yes.
Local 5278.
Yes.
Bruce Tupper and Michael Kraus.
Yeah, they have been working with the IAFF for Raymond to become their own local. They were in with Wyndham, a few difficulties arose, and they chose to go out on their own. So the one thing that needed to change in the current union contract was the fact that it was for local 5278, not the number that was for the Wyndham-Raymond combination.
All right.
So it doesn't change any of the terms in it or any of the things that you folks negotiated.
So this MOU will just be attached to the contract?
Yes.
Okay.
I thought when we negotiated the contract, though, it was with them and everybody else.
Well, it was,
No,
they
it's-
were part of the
They were part of the,
Wyndham
they were
firefighters.
part of the thing, but the contract is between
Raymond.
It's just for
Raymond with the fire.
Justin Raymond.
Just for the Raymond members of
Yep.
that local.
So-
And now they are their own local.
So
mean-
what happens later when we negotiate this again?
You're gonna negotiate with this local 5278.
And you won't be negotiating with
And Wyndham
members
is out.
from Wyndham. They are no longer members of Wyndham. So the contract headings and whatnot are incorrect right
Right.
now.
Okay. You have the MOU right there?
Yeah, I believe so.
I do, but I'm still lost on it, but,
Okay, so, move to accept the MOU with the new Raymond Professional Firefighters Association,
No.
IAFF Local 5278.
I don't have it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
It isn't in it?
No.
Unanimous?
Check through those, please, just in case. There's the Moon Enterprises motion. Cannabis, nope. Post-issuance policy, nope.
It should be before the cybersecurity policy and after the
I'm not seeing it.
cannabis.
All right, so it's not under that.
What is this?
Sounds good.
Oh, that's quick.
Yeah, it's a deed, quit claim deed. Okay, this one here is, I'm just wondering if it got stuck.
Yeah, my,
Fire
Hold
marshal,
on.
post issue, no,
No.
that's the post issuance.
That's too restricted, right.
Oh,
No, is it?
I should
Right,
be able
it's
to
all
find
that.
it and print it again. And have it for the end of the meeting.
no, I'm not seeing, let me pull these out though, hold on. We got the short claim,
There's two
short
quick
claim.
claims.
Yeah,
What is that?
that's for the school, for
Okay.
the warrant, nope, sorry.
All right, it's been approved. The
Just gotta get
MOU.
there to sign it.
You just, yeah, if you want to put that on the
Oh,
back table.
Well, I can print it right now.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cybersecurity, quick claim deeds.
All right, motion to accept the quitclaim deeds without covenant for Susan Stanley, map 15, God, I can't talk, lot 78. Do we have to read all the books? No?
I think you can.
I never put that in the motion. I
Right.
just put the map and lot in the motion.
Okay, and it doesn't say how much, but they got caught up, I guess. All right?
Yep.
So you need a
Second.
All right.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Unanimous. Next one.
Okay, motion to approve the quitclaim deed without covenant for Catherine Lipton McKenna, and it's map 19, lot 20B.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Yep.
Unanimous.
Okay, and then the next one is the warrant and notice of election calling.
Not there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Is that right? Okay, quick claim. Oh, yeah, okay, warrant.
All right, motion to approve the warrant and notice of election calling regional school unit number 14 referendum.
Yeah, that is, they didn't get that to me until, was it last Friday? It was sent in. But, and that, I hope my experiment doesn't backfire. I didn't program the machines this time to count these. We're going to count that. It's just a yes, no by hand.
You gonna count it by hand?
Yeah, because I didn't realize that this vote would happen this November. I thought it was happening next June.
Oh.
So I didn't budget for it.
Okay.
Was one part of the decision. The other is the state's going to have multiple questions, and I wanted to use the machines for
Yeah.
the state, to try and speed the process.
Okay. All right,
Like somebody stuck a
public comment? Anyone want to make a comment?
Seem to be out of public.
Okay, selectmen comment?
Thank you to the staff. You guys have been great, and I wanted to say thank you. And I hear you guys enjoyed your picnic.
We did. Did you get the thank you card?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And you just sign off.
Yep, that was very nice. I hope everybody really enjoyed it.
I heard a lot of very good, positive comments. It was
Good.
nice.
Good. We appreciate you guys.
And we appreciated you folks doing that for us. Thank you.
All right, town manager's report.
I just have a reminder that donations of candy can be made for the Main Street Halloween at the library or at the town office, and donations of money to help out with candy can be made at the town office.
Does he know about Halloween on Main Street?
Who he?
The new librarian?
Yes, he's been working with Joe and with Nathan and Bruce. We had a meeting together.
Okay, only because it's crazy. I worked it. Yeah.
All right, so the next meeting is November 14th. I'm kind of hoping, well,
Unless we don't need one, just pass.
no, the one in December.
No. Last time you said no on a meeting, we had like 3 in 1 month. No. If we have to cancel it last minute, let's cancel last minute, but
Alright.
yeah.
Just put down November 14th for now, and then we'll look ahead from there.
Oh my
all right?
God, Joe.
I might not be.
Here?
On Zoom probably. Actually, I might be back. I'll check on that.
All right,
And we do have an election up in
yeah, absentee ballots are available?
They are available right now. I was waiting to post everything until I got this warrant for the RSU.
Okay,
All in here.
all right. And I think we're finally in adjournment. Is that right?
Yes.
Sue, thank you for your multi hats that you are wearing. You're doing awesome.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I just
really
want to throw that in
appreciate
there.
it.
You are
Yes.
welcome.
Motion to
My
oh.
phone call isn't, I hardly ever get phone calls.
That's good.
It's great.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Wait.
Thank you, Sam, we're done.